Good morning, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Good morning, retail pharmacists, intending retail pharmacists, CEOs, business owners, entrepreneurs, and everyone here. It is indeed my pleasure to welcome you to, I believe this is the first Pharma Academy series for the year. It has been a while. It's another time to learn, another time to share best practice, another time to understand what the big guys in the industry are doing and emulate them. So I welcome you all to this meeting. And then I also advise that if your friends are not logged into this meeting, that you should please call on them, take the time, the next 30 seconds to 1 minute, send them the link to the meeting so that they can join. This meeting is not just for retail pharmacists, it's also for intending retail pharmacists. Here we are going to learn, we're going to share best practice, and we're going to understand the nitty-gritties of scaling your business. Thank you very much, ST, our super teacher, for giving us your time out of your busy schedule, and I'm very certain we will not regret this. So stay tuned as I invite our super teacher to have the floor. Over to you, ST.
Thank you very much, pharmacist Wumi Emanueloga, for that kind start and kind words you shared. The ST appellation usually is limited to the Pharma Alliance Group. Since you brought it to the open, well, let's go on. So like our moderator rightly said, it's been a while. We launched Pharma Academy sometime May last year as a response to the challenges of COVID-19. Whether COVID is here, still here, a hoax, a lie, a fact, that's not the issue for today. Bottom line is that Pharma Academy is back. And that's essentially because we believe very strongly that it's beyond responding to an existential crisis that we are in, but rather we want to leverage the Pharma Academy platform to begin to drive learning in the pharma industry. And so it took us a while to come back because we really needed to reformat the structure of Pharma Academy. Pharma Academy is beyond webinars. Pharma Academy is a platform. And in the next few months, we'll be rolling out the full extent of the platform. This week is for retail. Next week will be along the line, still along the line of clinical pharmacy sponsored by Novartis. I'll be sharing more details as we move on. But for today, like I said, we're in the retail pharmacy faculty, and we're talking about advancing strategically in retail pharmacy. This meeting is sponsored by Moxie. That's a premium brand of children medicines we've all come to love. Interestingly, this is Moxie's second year. This month is Moxie's second year anniversary. And we plan to, roll out some activities to, celebrate the day. Okay. And so the other information I need to share with you is this. The panel, which is our flagship conference, comes up in August. Last year, when we had the threat of COVID, we thought the panel would not hold, but then we took a step back, asked God for grace, and we launched the hybrid version of the panel. Panel 12 was our best attended conference ever. We had close to 600 delegates connected from all over the country and even beyond. And so, and last year also we introduced a 3-day hybrid format. For this year, we have chosen to retain the 3-day format, but we are taking it one notch higher, and it's going to be the super conference format. That means 3 days of hard learning, fun, and engagement, physical and virtual. So for those of us who have been part of the panel movement for the past 13 years, we are going to have panel the way we used to have it. The addition now is that people who are not able to come into Lagos for whatever reason will be able to watch the conference live from wherever they are. The live, if you are there physically, is going to cost 48,500. Virtually, it's going to cost 25,000. But as usual, you know that before the conference, we run all sorts of promotions. And so there's the rates are going to crash before August. But once we hit August, then the flat rates remain. So please save the dates: August 10, 11, 12, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Promises to be a blast. One of the major introductions we are bringing into the panel this year is, because it's a super conference, every day, each of the 3 days, we are going to have a keynote speaker. And so unlike the past where we had a 2-day conference, our last year 3-day conference, and then on the last day we brought out the big fish, every day for this year we are going to bring a big fish. The first keynote speaker has consented, and we'll be sharing the information shortly. The other 2 keynote speakers, we are still working on them. You know, these big fishes are kind of sometimes hard to catch. But then as the information comes out, we will share with you. Our sponsors are already on board. We thank all our sponsors who have signed up early for the conference. Thank you, GSK. Thank you, Boringa. Thank you, Sanofi. And the doors are still open for all those who want to sponsor the panel for this year. So, having said that, like we always like to say, gossip is good when it's about Moxie. So please spread the word, share the word. Let the teeming mothers out there know that there's something there for them, for their children. Okay, we go straight into the meat of the matter. And then in the course of the meeting, I'll be throwing in every now and then some jabs about the panel and Moxie. But they are the sponsors of today's webinar. So I say I'm going to start with some unverified assumptions. Essentially what that means is there are some things that I have come to find out in the course of my work within the retail pharmacy space in the last 8 years. I say they are unverified because there's no research work to back it up. However, they are yet to be challenged, so we leave them as unverified assumptions. And the first is this, that more than 60% of pharmacies in Nigeria are not making money. Now that's a hard one. It's like a blow below the belt. More than 60% of pharmacies in Nigeria are not making money. What that means is that they are making revenue, but they're not making profits. What that means is that if you tell them to stop business one day, pay all their bills, and then continue business, most of them will not be able to continue business. And that's a dangerous trend. What's the second thing? More than 60% of this 60% don't know that they are not making money. Now that's even a worse position to be in. So the first one is that you're not making money. The second one is that you don't even know you're not making the money. So you are there in business, you are thinking you are making money, you are thinking you are doing well, but then you're not doing well at all. And so it's important that we look at all these things, and look at it more closely. Like I said, this is the first in a series of teachings. And I really hope that we'll be able to get the best out of it. Today's teaching will focus more on strategic issues. And then subsequently, when we run the other series for Pharm Academy, we will then begin to deal with more topical issues. Now, those topical issues are going to be things like pricing, dealing with promotions, dealing with people, and all those other kind of things that will help us better understand the business we are in. Now, the third thing that is an unverified assumption is that most community pharmacists and pharmacies are under a lot of stress, both endogenous and exogenous. Endogenous means the business is giving you stress. Exogenous means that the business environment, the government, the tax authorities, and the rest are stressing you. And so the last one, if most had their way, they would either not do this retail thing anymore, or they will do it differently. So they won't do it anymore means that if they were to rewind the wheels of time and they had an opportunity to start again, they would just go and do something else. Or they will do it not the way they are doing it now, but in a very different manner. And so I have two images on the screen now. One is a Danfo and the other one is a Kabu Kabu. Not Uber, not Bolt, not Lyft, but Kabu Kabu. And so the question I'm asking is this: what is the difference strategically between the two means of transportation? Meaning that, yes, we know these two means will take you from one place to another, but then the question is, what is the difference strategically? And then let me take it one notch higher. Which of these two means of transportation aptly describes the community pharmacy you run? Now, this is to community pharmacy owners, to the community pharmacy you run today. Today's meeting will not, hopefully, will not be one of those marathon sessions. It's in an hour or so it should be done so that we can get on with the rest of the day. Okay, so the first one, which is a Kabu Kabu business. What a Kabu Kabu pharmacy. What is a Kabu Kabu pharmacy? Now, a Kabu Kabu pharmacy is one where the business, so let me describe the Kabu Kabu to you. A Kabu Kabu does not have any destination. Please note that I'm not talking of Bolt and I'm not talking of Uber. I'm talking of Kabu Kabu with the orange and yellow taxis. When the driver sets out in the morning and he hits the road, he's not going anywhere in particular. His movement is determined by the people he meets on the way. And even if he's coming from a particular direction and he meets a passenger that is heading the way he's coming from, he'll make a U-turn and go back there. So there's this Kabu Kabu coming from Maryland, and he's just on the road, and he meets someone at Fadei. If the person says, I'm going to Maryland, the person enters the car, and that driver, takes off, and then by the time he gets to Ojo-Elegba, goes under the bridge, turns around, and goes back to where he's coming from. That's a Kabu Kabu. It's your business. If your pharmacy, is it a Kabu Kabu pharmacy? Or is it a Danfo pharmacy? What's a Danfo? A Danfo has a route. It has a destination. If a Danfo that is meant to ply Ikeja to Ojo-Elegba starts flying Ikeja to Ikorodu, the union members will catch it. And so if you're not heading the Danfo's way, it won't pick you up. So by the time you get to, you are standing in Maryland, you are going to Akongo, and the Danfo is saying, Mushin, Mushin, Mushin. If you mistakenly enter the car, you will follow that Danfo to Mushin, because the Danfo will not change its course because of you. If for any reason you stand there and it says Mushin, 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 and you say Akongo, Akongo, you say no, it's not going your way. And so if you enter, you follow the crowd and rush, and then you are inside the bus, and then you now find out you are on the wrong route. It's either you get off after you have paid for how far you have come, or you end up with that downfall. What am I saying? Is your business, does it have a purpose? Does it have a destination? Or like we used to play in our days, early days, in our younger days, anywhere Bele face football. If you are running your pharmacy and they say, it is Max International that is selling now, you put it there. If you come and they say, it is Ruzu that is doing promotion, you put it there. If you come and then they say, no, it is online pharmacy, you are just running all over the place. Do you have a purpose? Do you have a destination? Does your business have an ambition? Like I said, it's a strategy session we are in for today. Now, I'm going to share with you a few businesses, or a few, they are all not businesses, a few operations. and I would like you to look at them and answer the questions I'm going to pose. Now, for the images you see, the question is this: do you have a particular service provider that you stick to, or do you buy from the most convenient place? So I start with this now, fuel station. You are moving from Berger, Ojodu Berger, and you are going to the PSN Secretariat. From Ojodu Berger to PSN Secretariat, you will meet at least 6 filling stations, from Mobile to Ando to Cornwall to, all of them are on that road. The question is, do you stop at the most convenient, or you pass 4 or 5 saying, no, I must buy my fuel at Mobile or nothing? What of your tailor? When you want to sew that show-stopping dress, do you just go to the tailor down your road and give him your material, or do you go to a specific tailor? You are living in K2, do you go all the way to Surulere to see your tailor? Or you just drive around anywhere you see tailoring business, you just park and say, come and help me sew? What of fruits and vegetables? Do you go a distance to a particular service provider to get that? Or do you stick to one service provider? Okay, I see there's a question in our question box. Please keep putting your questions there. I will come back to it at the right time. Okay, I need to be able to minimize the... Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. Keep putting your questions in the question mark as they come to you, not in the chat section, because if you put them in the chat section, I may not be able to, when the chats become too many, I may not be able to address them. I hope pharmacist Bolanle, I don't know, you couldn't hear me. I hope you can hear me now. I would increase the number. Let me upgrade some of my colleagues so that they may be able to address some of these issues as they arise. Sorry about that. Okay. So I've upgraded some of my colleagues as panelists, so that when some of these issues come up in the chat room, they may be able to address them. And of course, the host can address them and chat to you privately. Let's keep moving. The next one I have here is your recharge cards, your data. Do you, unfortunately, even data these days, we saw the crisis that happened the last few days, the USSD versus banks and telecoms fights. But your recharge cards, do you buy from a particular place, or you are stuck to a service provider? Your church, this is a very interesting one. Let me use a church like Redeemed Christian Church of God that has branches all over the place. Some of them on a stretch of road, you can have 4 to 5 parishes. Do you go to your own parish, or you stop by at the most convenient parish? Some people attend the national headquarters, and even though between their house and national headquarters, they will pass not less than 15 parishes, they still choose to go to where they're going. What of a hairdresser? Is that, do you put your head under the anointing of anybody, or there's somebody who knows how to manage your head? Your hospital. Do you walk into any hospital and say, please give me treatment? Or you have your doctor, or you have your hospital where your records are kept and all that. And then of course, snacks. When you want to have your meal, are you specific Do you want Chicken Republic or TFC, or are you a street sensation person? Or I bet anything go meat pie and meat pie, you know. Now I've shared all this because it's the difference between a brand and a commodity. And so I'll ask you, the pharmacy you run today, is it a brand or is it a commodity? Your customers, do they come to you because you are the most convenient for them or because they are stuck to you? If for any reason you leave that spot and another pharmacy comes there, will they follow you to your new location, or they'll just keep moving with the new person that comes there? That is a question you need to ask yourself. A deep one you need to ask yourself, because unless you answer this question, the road to prosperity may be a little bit battered, if you understand what I mean. Because if they are not coming to you for you, and I'm going to ask that question much later in this webinar, then there's a problem with your value offering. It means you are basically trading. It means there's nothing special in what you do. It means there's no in your business. This calls for, these are thought-provoking questions that you need to be able to answer. And that's why we say intending pharmacists, intending community pharmacy owners are also invited here, so that when you want to start, you start right. So can you answer this $1 million question? Why should I do business with you? Let me see if I can call up the attendee list. And I know I have people from Abuja here, people from Kaduna. I have, I'm scrolling through the attendance list. I have people from Ibadan here. I have people from Akwa Ibom here. Yes, Lagos all the way. I can see a number of intending community pharmacists. Yes, a whole lot of people are here. And so if I'm to ask now, I'm asking Canimed Pharmacy in Ilorin. I'm asking, I can see my Ibadan people are here. Let me ask, I can see Baido Pharmacy here, Drug Consult, you're in this meeting. I can see Epsilon Pharmacy. I mean, you're all here. The question is, Femiri, I can see you. Olive Heights, I can see you. Now, to everybody, and even those I can't see, Calabar, I can see you here, Western Pharmacy. Why should I do business with you? This question is not a surface question, it's a deep question. If the only reason why I should do business with you is because you sell medicines or because you're a pharmacist, then you shouldn't be in business, because there's nothing special about what you do. So the question is this: what is your EST strategy? What sets you apart from every other community pharmacy 200 meters or less away from you? Are you the cheapest, the biggest, the hottest, the easiest, the quickest? What is it about you that I must come and experience? Dear colleagues, let me help you understand something. Retail, whether you are doing drugs or food or cosmetics or whatever it is, it's about creating an experience. And so if I don't get an experience from you based on what you do, then you are very easily replaceable. And there's something very important about the replaceability index of your business. How easily can you be replaced? For those of us who work within organizations, because the replaceability index is a general phenomenon. Don't be too fixated about how much people can pay you. The question is, can you be easily replaced? I know one of the telecoms companies, they'll do anything you ask for, they can pay you. But in the same way they can pay you, they can fire you at the snap of a finger. And so the question is, what is your EST strategy? What is it about your pharmacy that people will go after they have left you because they have found a cheaper place. They have left you because they have found whatever. They will always come back and say, no, nobody treated us like you did. And there's something I always say when I run physical practical sessions. I said, if God blesses you and your location, and then the government smiles on you, like they smiled on the people around Penn Cinema recently, and decided to build a bridge for them. And then they started digging the roads, blocking the roads, creating traffic all over the place. And then they cut off the access that leads to your streets. How many of your customers will continue to do business with you in spite of the massive inconvenience? Do you even know your customers? Story for another day. Let's continue. So, quiz time. And at this point, I will be launching a quiz. This is not a quiz, but it's important for, let's just quickly run through this one. Which of the following is a knife used for in the home? Cutting bread, correct. Killing chicken, correct. Cutting vegetable, correct. Cutting meat, correct. Knives are not meant to cut medicine bottle. So go for Moxie, the medicines that have child-resistant caps. Yes, knives are for cutting meat, not medicine bottle caps. Don't enjoy yourself trying to open medicine bottles. Go for Moxie. The problem with some of these bottles is the hardest thing to do is to open the bottle. The next hardest thing to do is to close the bottle, but not with Moxie. All right, let's go. I'll be sharing a poll now. It is a telco poll, and there are 4 questions in the poll. Sorry, 3 questions. It's about telecoms companies. The first question says, which phone network is the most expensive to manage in Nigeria? The second says, which network is the cheapest? And then the third says, which network is the best? I will launch the poll now. Right now, we have 135 people connected, and I will want at least half of all those connected to answer all the questions. And so the time starts now. Okay, we have 61% of people have participated. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Based on what you have done, Farm Academy we're gonna keep this fire burning for a long time. Okay, okay. Let me just wait. Let's see if we can cross 100 respondents, and then maybe if the companies if they pay for the data, we can sell it to the telecoms companies afterwards. This is real life poll by real human beings. So these are 100 professionals who are answering questions. Please, don't send, I hope nobody is putting it in chats. Okay, somebody says I'm not seeing the questions. Well, 100 people have seen the question. What does S mean? Okay. Okay, I think we can close the poll now. We had 66% participation. Okay, the results are out. Very interesting results. Very interesting results. Sorry, I need to do some quick things, and I will start off again. And this poll drives home one very important message I have always shared. So give me a few seconds, and then I will be with you. Okay, so let me share the results. I hope we can see the results now. So it says, which phone network is the most expensive to manage in Nigeria? 73% of respondents said MTN. MTN, everywhere you go. Then we asked, which one is the cheapest? 58% said Glo. Now, do you want to know the most interesting one? They said, which one is the best? And 73% said MTN. So it tells us that MTN is the most expensive, yet adjudged the best. Now, now this is perception analysis. This is what you think. Now let us look at what the data says about who the networks that have the largest subscriber base. And this is it, dear colleagues. This is as at, I think, 2019. I checked for June 2020, and the result is still the same. MTN has the largest subscriber base in Nigeria, yet they are the most expensive, or perceived to be the most expensive. But people look beyond that cost and still stay with them because they believe they are the best. My dear colleagues, your price is not as important as you think it is. What is most important is the value you are giving customers. If you give customers value, they will flock to you ahead of cheap or free service providers. We have just seen it here. You said it by yourself, the data supports it. And so MTN, call them South African, tell them you protect anything you want to do. They continue to push the quality game, such that after you have vexed and been, you still come back to MTN. Are you getting the drift? So your pharmacy strategy is not tied to value addition. You are wasting your time. And so it's important we understand these dynamics and we run our businesses in a way that promotes these dynamics, so that our businesses can continue to run irrespective of the prices. Some people say, oh, Moxie, it's too expensive. Oh, Moxie, we can't sell it in my area. We did an experiment last year. We did the Moxie Olympics Challenge. And at the end of the challenge, do you know where the bulk of the businesses were coming from? They're coming from Ologunẹru in Ibadan, Abeokuta, Osogbo, Lagos. We had people from Ajegunle and the rest of them. The very places where people say, they can't afford, is no. We found out that the winning formula was in the mindset of the owners of those businesses. Is Moxie expensive? Of course. I won't even put it with saying cost effective. It's not cheap. But people have found the value and they have continued to stick such that in 2 years, it looks like 10 years. So if you are just one of those few people, I believe you are still very few, who are sitting on the fence for something to happen that your customers will be able to afford Moxie. No, the problem is not the Moxie, it is the you that you don't believe in yourself enough to push this brand because of the quality it stands for. So let's keep moving now. What is your growth strategy? As a community pharmacist, as a community pharmacy business, I choose retail because when we call it retail pharmacy, it's probably, I think it tunes our mind to the business of it. What's your growth strategy? So yes, a number of us are not making money, but some are making money and are stable. And then the next question is, how do we grow? What are the growth opportunities? For many of us, we have condensed the growth opportunities to opening more branches. And I'll come to that very shortly. How adaptable is your strategy to change? We are in a time of dizzying change, as in, you know, those things you used to do as much, you turn and stop, and then your eyes are still rolling. The kind of change happening right now is dizzying. How dizzying is it? Years ago, now more than 10 sharing these slides for about a year, everything you see on my screen did not exist. The iPad, Instagram, Uber, Bolt, Airbnb, GPS on phones. Wow, the WhatsApp that looks like we can't do without did not exist about 10 years, about 13, so let's say 13 years ago now. 13 years ago, all these things don't exist. And so the real question is this: what will we be dealing with in the next 10 years? If WhatsApp and all these things didn't exist, businesses have had to retool and reorganize quickly. What will we be dealing with in the next 10 years? In 2031, not too far, because most of us can easily relate to 2011 right now. In 2031, what will we be dealing with? Flyers? Will we have, will online pharmacy be the in thing? And then brick and mortar stores will just find the appendage. We're thinking along those lines. We're retooling our businesses for these kind of changes. We are stuck in our ways. Now, I call this the mutating nature of competition. So, I mean, DSTV, the preeminent, or I don't know what English to use, is cable service provider of choice. But then, you know, as large and looming as the image of DSTV is, I'm not sure how many subscribers they have. You know, but a number of competitors have come into the space to try and edge them out. None of them have succeeded. When times came, DSTV, the start times came to, you know, mop up that bottom of the pyramid people. They too came up with the GoTV strategy to compete with Star Times. As of today, I know there's some big going on now. The government is trying to stifle the TV. I don't know whether it's stifle, I don't know, really. But you know, in the environment we are in, you never know who is pushing what. You know, they make it look like, oh, it's for the general good. But then when you look behind, there's somebody pulling some strings. You know, but then right now, if DSTV has rights to maybe La Liga or something, they must share it with other people free of charge. I don't know how that's going to work. And government is saying if Gulda or anybody sponsors the EPL or any of those TV, they must come and sponsor our local leagues to vintage. Whether it's good or bad, that's not the meat of this session. But as STV continues to battle these other service organizations that are looking to play in the pay TV space, all of a sudden another competition is on the screen. That's Netflix. They are not a system. They are going subscription online. Netflix, we have. So the competition is changing. If competition is changing, how are you responding to it? Some of us have been arguing, oh, see, is good, is bad, is in between, is this, that. What will happen if the laws support it, whether the way you expect or not? How will your business respond of this kind? Very important. best time to seize an opportunity, the opportunity of a lifetime is the lifetime of that. Question here, do you have what it takes to succeed in today's world and even in tomorrow's world? These are questions we need to ask. An assumption that seems to be holding us back. It says that I can run a good pharmacy because I studied pharmacy. I call it a fatal assumption. Let me use a terminology that is in line with today. Now what's that? Luriro. That you can run a pharmacy, pharmacy school. Luriro. That when I'm a pharmacist, I will. Look at our industry critically. I'm not saying retail now, our industry. Who are these? They are not pharmacists. Look at the industrial space. Thank God for Emzo, who is holding the fort for us. But look at the big players in manufacturing, look at Fitson, look at Green Life, all those guys. Look at Neros, look at people building the massive plants. They're not pharmacists. In the wholesale space, thank God they've still left it for us. But the question I ask is, having left it for us, what have we done with it? You know why this issue is always happening? It's because of a mindset that we have. It's called the fatal assumption, which is what I've said. The book E-Myth Revisited, it talks about this mindset, the technician's mindset, the mechanic that thinks he can run a mechanic workshop because he's a mechanic. The doctor can run a great hospital, he studied medicine. The business, the practice are two different things. And so as pharmacists, we need to begin to embrace more the business mindset of what we are doing. Because by the time the community pharmacy, what we're doing is like a medicine. That core part that we call pharmacy that we do, that. But if we give 5 milligrams of paracetamol, but then it's to be put sweeteners, disintegrants, to be put in there for it to be palatable. In the same way, that core you have needs to be embedded with customer service, knowledge of finance, human resource management. Those are recipients, the drug smoothly. So we went to pharmacy school, and it was an obstacle race. That is you there, and pharmaceutics, the professors are waiting for ecology, all of them are waiting. Pass now. And a number of people fall casualty until the few that reach the promised land. Management, business management, and here we are, we come out with all the Candidendron tomentosus, come out with all the structural relationships. We come out with the all these things we do in the Sutix lab, and we struggle to find where they fit in our daily 2-3 daily practice. So I ask you, have you attended business workshop in the last 5 years? A number of us come and Panda, it's too expensive. What are they saying there? 3 days, and another 3 days. I know what I will put that money in my business. I know what to yield me. That's like how many cartons of paracetamol. Or that's even easy for people who are in pharmacy, where the annual subscription to be in pharmacy is 300,000. Someone actually told me that because of pharmacy we have more women than men. So in pharmacy we have much more women than men. And some people describe members of Farm Alliance as women of rich husbands that don't know what to do with the money. So you all give them 300,000 to go squander. What I usually respond, well, one thing I know about this is that they know They are penny pinching. They don't spend money anyhow. So they have been making investments over years. There is something they may be gaining. I don't know what they are gaining. They need to ask the members. And sometime last, we launched our Star membership, which means that people even in Lagos and Ibadan, where we have physical groups, now members of Farm Alliance. We have members in Port Harcourt, members in Calabar, members in Abuja. We call them Star members. Back to the matter, have you attended a business last 5 years? If you are running your business based on what you were taught in pharmacy school, you won't do that. We're having a meeting. We meet Farm Alliance. We meet our meeting is our meeting holds for April. We'll be having some fun at Sheraton Hotel in Ikeja. I'm not saying you should come or join us tomorrow. Do you have an MBA, CAM, OMP? You know, business school. I'm not business school in the Netherlands. Whatever. Have you tried to show up the deficiencies in your knowledge? Do you have a lawyer? Do you have an accountant or tax? Do you have a business advisor? Do you have a business mentor? Number of our pharmacies, we run like Solomon, and we know that poem in primary school. Solomon. So if I know you can't speak right now, but you can join me to relive that nursery school. Solomon, Grundy, born on the Christian on Tuesday, married on Wednesday, took kid on Thursday, was on Friday, died on Saturday, buried on Sunday. This is the end of Solomon Grundy. Is your pharmacy Solomon Grundy? Where assume that these kids are even years. Born in year 1, year 2, you start finding your feet. Year 3, you want to open another branch. Year 4, you're already sick. Year 5, you're in ICU. Year 6, you want to sell the pharmacy. And then you sell it, and that's the business. And that is what I see, major challenge I see. Pharmacies, you know, I was speaking to a young lady a few weeks ago. And she was like, oh, she works with one of the big chains. I said, oh, she's going to start a pharmacy. She's just about 2-3 years in practice. Oh, she's doing inspection in Kurudu, going to start her pharmacy and this experience. Yeah, I've been working in, ITD local. Okay. As you are finding you want to start your own. And then I told he said, well, it's just a starting point. After 1 or 2 years, I'll open another one. Hey, not only are you falling into the trap, you're already in the trap. And I tell my people, members of Alliance, I said, look, strategically, you have approval to open a second branch until your branch flourishing and it can do well without you. When you retail pharmacy, work there anymore, because without you the business is running. That is the only time you can open a second store. What do we see today? We see a pharmacy that is, it's managing well, it's paying its bills, including the owner's bill. But if owner leaves, the business will stutter and crumble. To open a second store, because the owner is still a functional part of the first store. Unless you continues to run, you do not have to permit to second store. You may need to keep it to hold, but this is what I feel strongly. So I talk about where it's like teenage pregnancy, where it will be a child. It's a case of they are going nowhere. Because when you go into this second frenzy, you will begin to put a strain on the business, such that the mother and the child end up dying. I've been involved in pharmacy sales. I hardly ever found a pharmacy that was value. Most of them are sold for scrap. Yes, we always try to bundle something into goodwill, and essentially the meaning of that goodwill is instead of going to look for a location, PCN approval, PIC, and let me pay you so I can at least get off immediately. So if you have to do this all over, will you do it? Remember, this is strategy meeting. The subsequent editions will focus on key issues within pharmacy. Will you, within a community pharmacy practice, will you do it the same way? If not, what will you do differently? Are you able to pay the bills right now? Are you tied down with tension relieving goals? Tension relieving or goal achieving activities. Now, this is what I was trying to explain earlier. To manage a community pharmacy successfully, you must have three component parts. There is the pharmacist, the professional. There is the manager, and then there's the entrepreneur. The professional is the one that went to pharmacy school. The one that knows that tetracycline and milk do not go together. The one that knows that when you take an antacid, it can affect the absorption of, the one that knows that there's drug-drug interaction. That's the pharmacist. That part must always be there. But then there must also be the manager. The manager is the one that sees to the day-to-day running of the organization. The one that sees that the shelves are full, the one that sees that everybody comes to work, the one that sees that customers are coming. That's the manager. And then there is the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur is the one that looks at the tomorrow of the business. The one that is looking at strategic options, the one that is looking to say, what can we do? How can we? That's the entrepreneur. Now, the composition of all that in the one person who runs that, who starts that business will vary, and it will continue to shift in the life of the business. But what we find is this: for most of us, we are largely, overwhelmingly professional. Then a little manager, and then very little entrepreneur. And this is where the problem is. The guys who we love to call the traders, who we love to call the paper medicine guys, who we love to call the investors, those guys are largely entrepreneurial. They all see their eyeballs, wine, is the money they are seeing. And so that's why you see in the money parts, they seem to be doing well, but they usually and largely discount the professional, which is why we always lay the blame on fake drugs, bad practice to them. But we as the core professionals need to strengthen these other parts, the manager and the entrepreneur part, so that we can begin to leverage the real benefits of this profession. We were not created to continue to serve those other guys, because most of them even start worse than we do, but they're very fast to scale because they understand the business of the business. We will be dealing with all that in subsequent episodes of the Smarter Retail series. Why do community pharmacies fail? Largely for financial mismanagement, poor financial management. Some of us, in a bid to grow, we go and assess funds. And I like to say, not all funds are good for you. There are short-term funds and there are long-term funds. If you use short-term funds to run a long-term objective, you will fail. If you use long-term funds to run a short-term objective, you will fail. You need financial mastery to know how to manage money. Cash flow management. Interestingly, for most of us in community, in retail pharmacy, our businesses, we have nearly zero receivables. Our business is cash down, unless you are doing the HMO business or whatever. And so the question is, do you understand how your cash flows? Because you need to understand that there's an interchangeability between the drugs on your shelf and the money in your account. It's always fluid. Drugs are turning to money, money turning to drugs. Do you know how to manage that flow? Expense management. Never focus 100% on revenues. Your bigger focus should be on profits. And one of the things that erodes profit is expenses. And of course, credit management. We live this industry is overexposed credit-wise. The question is, how are we leveraging profit, leveraging credit? All these are full topics on their own. They are full 2-hour webinars. ability to manage inventory. Do you understand inventory velocity? Most of us don't. We go and I call this principle the chest to pack philosophy. You go to a wholesaler, use your chest to pack all the drugs off their shelf. You fill your shelves, and even though you are still coming back to the same wholesaler in a week's time, you have bought enough for 2 months. You don't understand inventory velocity. Can you manage talent? We're going to dedicate a whole webinar during the Smarter Retail series for talent management. Actually, our meeting tomorrow for our farm announcement tomorrow, which, like I said, is holding insurance tomorrow, is for talent management while you scale up. The CEO of a Net Pharmacy is not facilitating that meeting, and I mean, sorry, I'm not trying to rub it in, but these are for my people. Customer management. Do we know our people? We don't. How many of us sell into named customer accounts? Very few. But let's keep moving. Knowledge management, very poor. Thank God for the 156 people currently listening to me now who have committed the last 1 hour to developing their minds. And of course, risk management. There's something called business continuity planning. For your retail pharmacy, what happens when, like I said, the government is happy with you and then they bulldoze your whole building because they want to dualize the road? What will happen to you? Have you thought about that risk? How are you mitigating that risk? So I'm going to round up this session by walking through a framework that you use to explore growth opportunities. It was designed by the man they call the father of strategic management. You know, for those of us who are into business management, they say the father of marketing is Philip Kotler. You say the father of modern management is Peter Drucker, where Harry Igor Ansoff is the one they call the father of strategic management. And if my teacher were on this meeting, I would have given him due credit. Let me see whether, okay, he's not around. He's not in today. I was talking of Professor Larry Bale. Okay, so now the Ansoff's matrix is the matrix that is used by business owners to look at the opportunities for growth in their business areas. It looks at markets and it looks at products or services, and looks at the interplay of products and services and markets. So we have new products, new markets, existing product, existing market, and then you choose how to play. For most of us, the only route to expansion we know is opening more branches. And I like to say that is not the only route to growing and de-risking your business. So I like to say that there are different pharmacy formats, and maybe if I can manage the charts, I may be able to, okay, my network is cracking. I hope it is better now. There are different pharmacy formats that I know of today in pharmacy. And beyond what you can see on the screen, you may want to type into the chat section other formats, probably I'm not aware of. But I know there are some pharmacies that strictly do only medicines, supplements, and devices. I think a Health Plus will fit into that, where they don't do supermarkets, they don't do cosmetics, it's just medicines. There are some that do pharmacy, core pharmacy, a few sundries, but then they are clinically focused. That will be the likes of Silverline Pharmacy, Victory Drugs, Pillbox Pharmacy. These are places where there are patient files. Patients go there for clerking. There's medication therapy management. They manage patients for pharmacotherapy. They work closely with physicians to manage patients. That's another format that I'm aware of. So like I said, if you know anyone I've not listed here, feel free to type it into the chat box. There's pharmacy and beauty. I think that's where Net Pharmacy plays. I think MedPlus too plays in that space to some extent. There's pharmacy and lab. we have Julie playing there. We have MedCourt Pharmacy playing there. In Warri, I believe we have Safari Pharmacy playing there. We have pharmacy and veterinary. I find this largely as pharmacy, veterinary, and supermarket. One of the major drivers of that farm format is Vanguard Pharmacy that operates in Osogbo, Ibadan, and Abeokuta. A number of our Farm Alliance members who operate in Ibadan also run this format. Finrail Pharmacy, we have T-Scare. A number of them have a veterinary pharmacy section. A number of us do pharmacy and supermarkets. And also my guys in Ibadan also are now beginning to do a lot of pharmacy and bakery. I know Mosh Pharmacy, Vanguard Pharmacy, they have their own Vanguard bread, Mosh bread, Supermarket bread, you know. Interestingly, I had a visitor from Ibadan yesterday, and I was pleasantly surprised that what she brought for me as a gift from Ibadan was bread from one of our Farm Alliance pharmacies. And I was like, well, that's a good one. And so this is the matrix. This is the ANSOFT matrix. It talks about, like I said, established products, established market, new markets, and look at the way increasing risk is going. And it says that market penetration has the lowest risk and diversification has the highest risk. And I'll be talking through all this as I move on. So let's talk about market penetration. After this matrix, if you have questions about anything I've said, you begin to put them in the Q&A box. Like I said, not the chat, because I can miss it. The meeting coordinator will look through them, and then during the Q&A session, we'll trash them out. So let's look at market penetration. Now, this is when a company or a pharmacy enters the market with its existing goods and services. It involves increasing market share within existing market segments. And it can only be achieved by selling more products and services to established customers or by finding new customers within existing markets. Now, this is what most of us do. It is the fight for market share. It is selling more of what we are already selling to the same people. So it is getting people, the same people come to our pharmacies to buy more from us. So we are selling and want to grow our business. And to grow that business, we use different tactics and strategies to get them to buy more from us. The underlying assumption for this strategy is that there is still untapped demand in the area, or there is competitive advantage that can be further exploited without changing what we are doing. So in essence, what that means is that we have a pharmacy in Festac or Ikorodu or Magodo is growing, but then we believe that we can still grow more. Yes, there are competitors around us, but we think, oh, we can still sell. There's still business, there's still market. That is one strategy, that's market penetration. And it can be done by taking part or by the entire competitor's market share. So when some of my members of Farm Alliance come to me and they say, oh, there's this pharmacy who has come just 200 meters to me and he's selling at, rock bottom prices. I say, yeah, it's okay. It's called market penetration strategy. They want to attract your customers with their price. Your job is to come up with a market defense strategy. Story for another day. So you understand? You need to understand that imperative and then drive it. But then you get to a level where you have done everything and you are, in fact, you are the market leader. There's nothing else to do. That means you have penetrated the penetratable. At that point, market penetration strategies can't work anymore. This strategy usually involves the use of other elements in the marketing mix, such as increasing your promotional effort, aggressive pricing, or more extensive distribution. Entrepreneurs can penetrate the market by finding new customers for the product or by getting their current customers to buy more. Now, let me drive this home a bit. look critically at your business. Assuming you had a customer, a viable customer database, and I've told you to do an analysis of that database, and you will find out that you have customers, even though you run pharmacy and supermarket, they only buy pharmacy from you, they don't buy supermarket. And there are some customers, let's assume you're on the high street, Adelaide Avenue, Bodija, those major roads where you have a lot of offices. They only come and buy cold drinks and chin-chin and biscuits from you. They don't buy your drugs. Market penetration strategy would involve you getting them to buy other things you are selling. So, they only buy drugs. Why don't you introduce cosmetics to them? They're already in your shopping arena anyway. Or they come and they only come and buy veterinary. Why don't you introduce your medicines to them, your human medicines to them? Or they only come and buy bread. Why don't you switch them to medicine business? So what actions do you want to take if market penetration is what you want to do? And this works for you, especially when you believe that the market is not yet saturated and there's still a lot more to do. You can advertise to encourage more people within your existing market to buy your products or to use more of it. You can introduce a loyalty scheme. You can launch price or other specific or special offer promotions. And then you can improve your sales force activities. We will, as part of this series, we will run a training on selling skills, because we found that this is one of the biggest problems community pharmacists have. They don't know how to sell. Selling skills is near zero. And so we'll take some time to teach selling skills, because we found out that those who are smiling home with the serious cheddar with moxie are those who understand how to sell. Selling is not easy. There's an art to selling, and it's something that can be learned. So why do you want to do market penetration? To maintain or grow your market share with your existing current product range. You may want to become the dominant player in growth markets. So you may go for market penetration when, there are pharmacies, but you want to say in Festa, we are the pharmacy of choice. Then you launch a market penetration strategy. It could be to drive out competitors. You need to know what you are doing. You are a downfall business, not a kabu-kabu business. And then to increase the usage of your company product by your existing customers. The next thing you want to look at is product development. In this way, pharmacy owners develop new products in existing markets. So a pharmacy that already has a market for a product may try to follow a strategy of developing additional products aimed at its current market. One of the things we are worst at in pharmacy is in developing pharmacy services. If I ask you today, what pharmacy service, in fact, how am I doing with time? Okay, we've done just about an hour, so I think we're doing good. The first time I asked for other formats, nobody typed in, probably because we didn't have any other formats. Now I'm going to ask another question, and you may want to drop in chats now. When it comes to pharmacy services, what pharmacy service, I'm not saying do you know of, don't type in yet, do you offer in your pharmacy today? Please note that for me, blood pressure checking, blood sugar checking, weight checking, they are not pharmacy services. They may be to you, but to me, they are not. I believe they are too pedestrian to be called pharmacy services. It's a given. So, what pharmacy services do you render in your pharmacy? Put your pharmacy name and the service. Not blood pressure, not blood sugar checking, not weight checking. Okay, NASA, Alec. So please, in the same message, put what you do, the pharmacy and the service, so that I don't lose track. So Alec Pharmacy, what do you do? Nasaha Pharmacy, Kaduna, what do you do? As a pharmacy service. we're waiting. I know it may rush like a flood when they start rushing now. So, is it the network or are we like, okay, Astute Care, Medicaid, MTM. Okay, so Astute Care, Julius Obahaya, MTM, that's beautiful. That is one thing pharmacists should do, and I hope you charge for this service. Because this, you see, pharmacy service is a place where you can charge based on how you feel. Minor wound care service, that's wound dressing. They packaged it with a good name. Home delivery for elderly on maintenance medication, okay. Lipid profile, breast screening, or rapid test kits, okay. Okay, that's good. You see, the moment EXC, we do adult and adolescent vaccination, beautiful. Health check for different diseases, now fantastic. Now, let's take the refill services, WESA, Calabar drug, patient follow-up, minor suturing, okay. All right, let's let them keep coming. Now, now I'm going to stop following. I'm going to stop following your charts, and let me just drop the message I have for you. Let's begin to think about pharmacy services as products. Products you can bill for. What do I mean? If you say blood sugar monitoring, wound dressing, and all those things, yes, they can be considered services, but can you customize a service that will take these individual tests and bundle them into something? And when you bundle it, give it a name, package it, do some wash, you'll find that you can charge a premium for that service that is customized to you. Some years back in Farm Alliance, we did what we call the STRAP test. STRAP is Stroke Risk Assessment and Prevention Program. And we put a fee to it, 10,000 naira. It involved blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, that's also, but because of the way we packaged it and sold it, a number of members were smiling home to the banks, such that we did a business structure around it that in about 25 tests, you'd have made all your investments for the devices back, and after that, you're smiling home to the banks. That's what I mean, product development. So that Nasaha Pharmacy in Kaduna will say, oh, have you signed up for the Nasaha Weight Management Program? In that program, you have weight management, you have diet planning, you have, and you put like 5 things together, and they pay you a service fee for that whole program. Or you have a stroke prevention program or a heart health program, and you customize it to Alec Heart program. And then it has BP, blah, blah, blah. And then it has quarterly check. Develop something, design something that you can charge for, that people can sign up to. I remember Alex some years back, I don't know that he's still doing, decided a retainership program where you can come and collect the Alec card. You will pay up front, and then you're entitled to a number of services. This is the innovation we expect from community pharmacy. For too long, we have slept facing the same direction. It's time to agitate the boat a bit. Product development involves thinking about how new products can meet customer needs more closely and outperform competitors. It assumes that an innovation will be accepted by the existing customer group. So when you are doing this, you are not going to look for new customers. It is your existing customers you are looking for. So you do your analysis and you find out that, oh, there are a lot of mothers. You do well in child medicine. Create something for either mothers or children. And you'll be surprised at the kind of traction you will get. Product development can be radical. In this case, you may introduce entirely new products, or it can be moderate, involving modification of existing products in some way, such as improving their performance, presentation, or quality. So what action do you take when you want to go into product development? You create value-added services that your current customers can benefit from. So somebody said breast screening. You can put something together. There are free, royalty-free breast screening videos online. There are devices for breast screening and all that. You can put it together. A few people may have some difficulty, how do I put it now, knowing how to properly examine their breasts. Can you upskill in that area and give a clinical breast examination? Or can you work with a health professional such that you are tracking? Like somebody said in our chat room one of these recently, say for most women who have who discover lumps in their breast, it is the husband that discover first. Can you do something with that information? And then run, there's a whole lot you can do. You can introduce a related product line to what you already sell. The third one is market development. This is the one most of us go for. This is the branch expansion. This takes place when pharmacies take existing products into new markets. So for instance, we have one of our star members, Wesa Pharmacy, currently in Calabar, who is extending the frontiers of the Wesa brand into Ebonyi. That's market development. She's taking the existing Wesa brand from Calabar and she's opening in Ebonyi State. A pharmacist's current product can be targeted to another customer segment. And it can either mean expanding into a new location or serving a new segment, like veterinary. Animals are a customer segment. So you've been serving humans before, and then you're moving to a new market, animals. Here, the objective, you're looking at new markets, new area, or new areas of the market. You're trying to sell more of the same thing to a different set of people. What you used to sell in Festac, now you want to give it to people in the Ikorodu. That's market development. This strategy assumes that the existing market is fully exploited or that new markets can be developed concurrently but profitably with the existing market. So what that means is that it's either, so you have a pharmacy in Lekki Phase 1 and you believe you're operating at your maximum level. At that point, you can launch out, assuming the business can do without you, and then open a new store. Or you, and like I said here, we can work concurrently, have one here, and then of course, the new branch is also running. New markets can be geographic, and it can also be caught by customer groupings. What action do you need to take? You need to target different geographical markets at home or abroad. You can use different sales channels. So market development also involves online pharmacy. So the moment you move from brick and mortar, your regular customer, to online, that's categorized as market development. And then diversification. This is the last, I'm rounding up now. This is the last one. So like I said, if you have questions, put them in the question box and we'll take them when I finish. Diversification. Okay, before I move into that last session, a reminder to the 153 people on the call now that August 10, 11, 12, panel 13 will hold, and the theme is Do It Afraid. Save the date. Gate fee, physical attendance in Lagos, 48.5. Virtual attendance from anywhere in the world, 25,000. A month or so to the conference, registration will open and early bird discounts will apply. So let's go to diversification. This is classified as the riskiest of the 4 options. It involves developing new products in new markets. And it means moving away from the pharmacy's existing products and markets and going into an area. It's the strategy with the highest risk because you are going into an unknown area with an unknown product. So this will be my very good member, Remedy Drugs in Ikorodu, that goes to open a bakery outside her store. A new product confectionaries in a new market, you know. But Hass may not necessarily be a new market because the bakery is also in Ikorodu. But assuming she will now going to open that bakery in Festac Town, that's hardcore diversification, where the company has no previous industry or market experience. This is called unrelated diversification. Related diversification describes where companies in the market have some familiarity. So what I described for Remedy Drug right now will be related diversification, because she has a fair understanding of the Ikorodu market, but she's bringing in a new product there. Brand new products may also be created in an attempt to leverage the company's brand name. And so I see, for instance, now when Vanguard Pharmacy launched Vanguard, they launched their bread and then they called it Vanguard Bread. Mosh Pharmacy launched their bread and they called it Mosh Bread, so that people who know the Vanguard brand, when they see the bread, they can tie it to that. So Ansoff, the person who postulated this thing, said that their diversification stands apart from the other three strategies. The first three are usually pursued with the same technical, financial, and merchandising resources for the original product line, whereas diversification usually requires a company to acquire new skills, new techniques, new facilities. So when a pharmacy decides to own a clothing line, then that is, I mean, you can't use your pharmacology knowledge to do that. The nature of this strategic objective can be defensive or offensive. You can diversify as an attack or as a defense. What does it mean to diversify defensively? At this point, you may be spreading the risk of market contraction or being forced to diversify when your current products or current market seems to provide no further opportunities. So you look at your market and you say, look, this pharmacy is at its peak. And or with the way things are going, with the way online is going, and let me diversify, or with the way healthcare is going, let me diversify so that with the way, if they hit healthcare, I will have something else to fall back to. So the revenues from the current business can be used to diversify into an unrelated business. Offensive may mean conquering new positions, taking opportunities that offer greater profitability than expansion opportunities, or using retained cash that exceed total expansion needs. What does that mean? You are expanding, you are doing other, but you still have excess cash. You can use that money to go aggressively into other areas. What are the risks? Diversification is the riskiest of the four strategies presented in the matrix. Going into an unknown market with unfamiliar products means lack of experience in the skills and technologies required. Therefore, the company puts itself in great uncertainty. For diversification, it may necessitate expanding your human and financial resources, and this can detract your focus, commitment, and investment in the core pharmacy. That's why it's very risky. You can risk the existence of the main mother that is laying your golden eggs. So you have to view diversification with a very serious thought. Therefore, you need to choose this option only when the current product and market does not offer further opportunities for growth. Don't diversify unless you are sure that the market you are in is saturated, or is filled, basically that's it. So in order to measure the chance of success, different tests, can be done. So in rounding up, the corporate Ansoff matrix analysis from a business perspective says that the low risk option is to stay with your existing product in your existing market, because you know the product, how it works, and the market can surprise you to a minimal extent. However, you expose yourself to a whole new level of risk, either by moving to a new market with an existing product or developing a new product in your existing market. So this is my summary slide. For market penetration, you need to increase your capacity, you increase your frequency of purchase, you increase the volume of purchase of your customers, and you develop new relationships to sell existing products. That's selling an existing product in an existing market. If you want to do product development, you need to develop a new product and market it to your existing customers. If you are looking at market development, you want to introduce your existing value offering to new customer segments or geographies, and it could involve in servicing international customers from a domestic setting. That, like I said, is where you go online. And then your diversification is introducing new products to new geographies and new customer segments. And you can start or buy an unlimited new business. So it could also involve you buying a new, you go and buy a filling station, you go and buy Silverbird Cinemas, you go and buy, that is diversification. You don't necessarily need to start it from the ground up. Dear colleagues, that is my message for today. That is our welcome back to. Yes,
I don't know if it's just me. We can't hear you.
Can't hear me. Okay. Is it better now? Can you hear me now? Okay, it's fine now. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Not sure where I dropped off. But that's the end of my session. Thank you for listening. Thank you for welcoming Farm Academy back with open arms. Let's begin to type our questions into the chats, into the questions section. And then thank you, Moxie, for sponsoring today's meeting. Days of horror are over. Our children have been singing songs of joy for the beauty Moxie has brought them in the last 2 years. Vitamin C is a flagship brand in all pharmacies. If you need supplies, please let us know. Feel free to, no gossip, not all gossip is bad, especially when you're dealing with talking about Moxie. This is pain relief. Our paracetamol is wonderful. Pain relief with peace of mind compares to the best anywhere in the world. Vitamin C again, bright eyes, lush skin, and beautiful hair for the children. Yeah, fruits are seasonal, but vitamin C syrup always in season. How many cartons do you want? We are here to deliver. And that's it, 100% quality guaranteed. Don't forget to save the date. Do it afraid is our theme for panel 13. And our next webinar comes up next week, Wednesday. We'll be looking at red eyes, and it's going to be sponsored by Novartis. On that note, I would like to hand over the meeting to the coordinator to take it over from here, to look at the questions and let us, thank you very much, Ma. Look forward to panel 13. We look forward to having you at the panel. Okay, so my meeting coordinator, are you still there? Okay, I guess network went off. Okay, let me take a few of the questions I can see in there. It's been a festival out of the year, missed a few points. So can the slides be shared? Yes, the slides will be shared to everyone who participated in this meeting. Yeah, so you get the slides. For everybody who has been wondering whether you get the slides, it's our practice in Farm Academy. You get all the slides once you, let me quickly run through the chart if there's something I missed out. Okay, good. All right, so we just focus on the questions that are here. Shoma Ezechibo, you say thanks for the, okay, sorry, you're making a comment. You get the slides, you get the video, so you can always watch it again in case you missed anything. You get the slides, you get the video. Clara Ezildo, how do you know if you're not making money in the pharmacy business? Okay, there's a tool I developed some years ago, and it's still very practical and real and available. It's Rebecca. Rebecca is a retail break-even calculator. All you need to do in using that tool is to enter your costs, and it will tell you how much you need to sell to break even. That tool is available free of charge. If you let me see now, what do I do now? In the chat section, let me try and put a phone number there. Let me try and put a phone number in the chat section so that if you request, okay, no, let's make it easy for everybody. For all those who registered, we'll send you the Rebecca tool along with the slides. However, based on the work we have been doing over the years, there is a teaching that is attached to Rebecca. So having the tool alone will not suffice. We went ahead to do a recording of how to use the Rebecca tool. Now that recording is available as a CD, and you can pick it up in our office through New Heights. So we will send all those details with you when we send the recording link, the slides and everything. And we'll send you all the information you need to have. So Tayo, take note. So for you to know whether you are making money, if you put your numbers into Rebecca, Rebecca will tell you how much you need to sell to break even. Also, if you have an accountant auditing your accounts, taking in all your expenses and putting it in your accounting books, you will know whether you are in a profitable business or not. Where we most, you still can't hear me. Can you hear me? Let me know whether it's a general problem or specific problem. Meeting coordinator, can you let me know if you can hear? Okay, can you hear me? Good. All right. Thank you, Alex. Now, okay, good. Now, when you put the stuff in Rebecca, or you put your accountant tells you whether you're making a profit or not, then you know whether you're making profit. But what I said, or what I was saying before I got sidetracked, is for you to be able to get the real information out, you need to put your correct salary. This is where we try to deceive ourselves and say, oh no, I just, they ask a full-grown man with baby who has 3 children and is married, so how much do you pay yourself? So I just take 150. You know, it's a lie. This is even worse when you left paid employment to start your pharmacy. They're paying you 350K. You now say, oh, you started your pharmacy and you are collecting 100K or 150K. Are you retrogressing? And there are 2 places you pick your salary from in your account statement: in the salary section and in director's expenses. So when you use the pharmacy's checkbook to pay your children's school fees, to pay your house rent and all those things, just bundle everything together and put it into your salary. That's your salary. So when you do all those things and you are still able to post a profit, then you are in business. So Clara Ezeudo, you may want to get Rebecca, you get the tool, but you may want to get the recording of Rebecca. It's about a 1-hour recording. So you can also probably request for the virtual copy. I'm sure they can make it available to you to all at the cost. Okay, you missed a few points. You get all the slides back. How do you define market saturation? Some tend to define it by time or consistent trend in revenue. Market saturation, essentially, without going into too technical terminologies, market saturation is just a scenario for you where you have done all you can and the sales are not growing and you are doing well, which means that, so it's easy for you to say, for instance, okay, let me use a typical example. You are in an estate and practically everybody in the estate is buying from you. It's difficult practically for people to come from outside the estate to buy inside your pharmacy, inside your estate. So when you get to that point and you are putting in all the things, you are doing everything right, but the numbers are not growing. I mean, the man taking numbers will not take double the dose just because you want to sell. At that point, you know that, look, it looks like you have hit a plateau and you need to, go further. So that's to Chinedu Obilo. Have you taken the large percentage of poor people in society into consideration? They can travel from Ajegunle to Ikorodu looking for cheaper prices. I agree with you. How then the other person, Ifeoma Azosiri says, how can a new pharmacy best compete in an environment saturated with big name pharmacies? Okay, so I'll take the first question. Have you considered a large percentage of poor people? Yes, I have. Now, I tell people one of the most important, and we have another recording on location analysis. You may want to get that too. One of the most important things you need to know about location is the existence of human beings. When you are in a location, it is for you to tailor your service to the kind of human beings there. Now, yes, customers can travel from Ajegunle to Ikorodu based on low price. I agree with you. Or are you able to provide a low cost strategy to meet their needs? Some of you say, oh, they go to patent medicine, where they cut, and yes, if that is the reality, can you devise a strategy that will match that? I'm not saying you should begin to do unwholesome things, no. But are you able to then match that level? If the issue is price, can you, and let me tell you something, price is largely psychological. Can you play on the psychology of your people to get them to come in? And most times the issue is not so much about price, it's about the person's conviction about medicines. The same people that will not pay to treat themselves will pay to buy Asoebi for the burial of the person they didn't give money. It's about priorities. So the question is, how do we manage that? So if you are in Ajegunle, Bariga, and all those places, you can make much more money than the person who is in Victoria Island. Can I tell you something? The pharmacy that came second, was it third, in the Moxie Challenge is Premier Ajegunle. And so it tells you that even in Ajegunle, amazing things can happen. So how can a new pharmacy best compete in an environment saturated with big name pharmacies? The first question is, why did you go into that saturated environment? You must have had a strategy. But then big name pharmacies, especially the multi-store ones, the big chains, they have one major fundamental weakness. They are not flexible. They don't bend easily. So when a customer comes to you and says, I want to buy Moxie vitamin C, you can tell that customer, oh, I don't have, but if you come back in the evening, I will get it for you. The guys in the big name pharmacies or the large chain pharmacies need to send that request to the central store, who will then, it may take a few days. So as a small new player, you need to work on your agility. You also need to look at what the big names you mentioned are not doing. Nobody does everything. And so you must be able to tailor your services to the needs of the people. Don't go there because Health Plus, Med Plus, Net, Bido, and the others are there. If you don't have value to add to the environment, if there's no need you see yourself meeting, you may want to be careful in choosing the game you want to play. We are rounding up now. Okay, so this is how we manage retail price to bring it back. Wholesalers doing retail are only at price. Where prices is important, the most important. Wholesalers are not interested in giving value, interested in services. That is one place where you must differentiate yourself. Wholesalers doing retail are basically trading. All they are offering is better prices. If you raise your game, if you raise the bar, people will come to you. I know you may not agree with me. I know you may have empirical evidence to show that it's a lie, but I have more evidence to show people who have done it and it has worked for them. And so it takes courage, it takes commitment, it takes being deliberate, but the strategy is about differentiating yourself such that you need to have stick-to-itiveness. You need to stick to it and run with it till the very end. And I'm sure that if you do this and you do your research properly, you will get your customers. So you said the question says, what can we do to bring our clients back? It means they might have left. If they have left, you need to roll out customer acquisition programs. These are programs that go and bring people in to your pharmacy. You go to where they are and drag them back into the pharmacy. You're calling from Kaduna, so you go and bring the churches, you go to the mosques, you go to the marketplaces, you go to the Okada Riders Association, you go to the estate, so anywhere people gather, you go to offices and you go and talk to them and bring them back. You launch home delivery services. Yeah, that's what, once you offer that value, people will come back to you. Okay, can the training meetings be held regionally? This is for the benefit of people not residing in the environment. I believe you are talking about the panel. No, panel cannot be held regionally. We tried them back, we held them for tax back to Lagos. And I'll tell you for panel, on an average conference, 20 people, we have delegates from about 26 states. So people really travel down panel, which is why we've continued to flesh up the conference. So when I were winning a Twitter conference, we're going all over the country. But that program has ended now. If we get a new sponsor, we'll start the roadshow again. But with COVID, we have to be a little careful and some all these insecurity things. But what we have done for you, but the panel this year, like last year, is going to be streamed live. It's a super conference, 3 days. So from wherever you are, you don't need to come to Lagos. You will get the full benefits of the conference. And just like for those who participated last year, they got their conference package, everything was delivered to their doors, all their prizes and gifts. So we're going to do the same this year. And I believe, panel is going to be, by God's grace, the best ever for panel. Okay, on that note, is my quote still around to close the meeting? If not, I would like to thank everybody. Let me just check again in the room. Please, can you talk more about inventory velocity? That is another 2-hour webinar, not for today. For Mr. Ladison, since representability index is a general phenomenon, how do we make our customers keep in touch regularly, regardless of the inconvenience? No, customers don't keep in touch. You keep in touch with your customers. So replaceability is a function of value addition. The more value you add, the more they can't leave you. And that's simply the philosophy. Okay, so on that note, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who has participated. It was great having you all. The recording, the slides will be made available to you shortly. Latest by tomorrow, you'll have it. In a few days, we will open the registration for next week's webinar, sponsored by Novartis. It's on Red Ice. You don't want to miss it. Novartis have been long-term partners with Pharma Academy, and their webinars are usually on point. And so see you later. In a few months, the Pharma Academy portal will be launched. All our past webinars will be on that portal. All past editions of the panel will be on that portal. You can't afford to miss it. Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you, Moxie, for sponsoring this meeting. Moxie will be sponsoring the Smarter Retail series, unless we have other people who want to co-sponsor. And what can we do to repay Moxie back for what they are investing in Pharma Academy? Let's talk Moxie, let's promote Moxie, and we'll all be glad we did. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day ahead.